What's up, Ocean? You got Matt here, coach of your Montreal Milotic, bringing you our Week 2 battle for the APA Academy. We are facing off against MarioBee and his Roll Street Rillabooms. I'm kind of nervous for this game. Last time we played Mario, I believe we ended up losing that game. I'm pretty sure on that it might have been an IBL, but we have beaten him in the past before, and the reason I'm scared about it isn't because of that, it's because his team is so threatening. It is one of the scariest teams in the entire league. Honestly, probably top 3, maybe even top 1. It is that insane. And you guys are going to see that in just a second, but before I get into the team builder and the matchup, make sure to leave a like on the video, comment your thoughts on the battle and on the team builder, of course, in the comments down below, and make sure to stick around so you hear the secret word of the day to comment that down in the comments too, and of course subscribe to the channel. But let's go ahead and jump into it, starting with his team, and he has the mon that I really wanted more than any of them. He has Indeedee. Indeedee was the mon I was looking forward to the most. I really want that thing. Its speed is fantastic. It's the fact that it gets Psychic Surge in this metagame is amazing because you compare that with an unburdened Pokemon like Hitmonlee, which he just also happens to have, and a couple other really good threats. As long as you have an amazing switch into Psychic type attacks, which, spoilers, he does in Galarian Moltres, then you're set. That's really the big thing. His team is very good. It's very well built. The biggest thing I'm thinking it's missing is like maybe a bit of momentum lacking. Even then, it's like Decidueye gets it, Moltres gets it, Magnezone gets it. I'm pretty sure Indeedee gets Baton Pass as well. Ribombee is fine with it. Raboot gets U-turn. Shedinja also gets U-turn. So that's really the biggest weakness I can look at his team and say. But hey, his team is very scary. We got to kind of take it down a peg. If there's another weakness I can kind of point out is that he has, outside of the Ribombee, the only mon that has 100 base speed or higher is the Tentacruel. So there's a pretty big speed gap between Tentacruel and Ribombee at base, I believe, 124 if I'm not mistaken. So we got to try and take advantage of that at least a little bit, even though we don't have many mons that are within that speed tier either. I believe our fastest one is going to be the Heliolisk and the Zoroark. Everything else falls below that, which is fine. We just have to be able to take advantage of his team when we can, and as long as we make sure the Hitmonlee isn't coming in too late in the game while our team is too weakened, we should be fine in theory. But let's go ahead and jump into it, starting with our first mon, and that is going to be our Perrserker here. Tone Time is here. Perrserker is running the Assault Vest this week. Now the Assault Vest is there because we need an answer to Indeedee. Indeedee just destroys my entire team, and this Pokemon resists Indeedee's stabs. That is one benefit that we have to having a Steel type on this team. Without Perrserker, then we would just lose to Indeedee. Honestly, its coverage is just too good, its power is too strong. We have to have a way to take the hits. Problem is, Perrserker isn't that bulky defensively. Well, not in terms of defensively, but especially defensively, having only base 60 special defense with only base 70 HP. So we really got to make sure we have a lot of investment with the Assault Vest to take the hits. And we do. We have 252 HP and 204 special defense to be able to take those hits, and it really helps us out with the Assault Vest to boost up that power as much as possible. We don't want to get knocked off. I believe a couple mons get knocked off on his team. The Hitmonlee gets it, the Tentacruel gets it. I believe the Decidueye gets it. I could be wrong. I don't think it does actually, but I'm pretty sure it's 2 mons at least. Tentacruel and Hitmonlee, which I believe will both be coming to this matchup. So we'll see what happens. Regardless, the investment on the Perrserker, what it does is with the investment, we can take 2 Life Orb Indeedee Mystical Fires from full, and we also OHKO it back right away with Throat Chop. I'm not running any stab option on this. No Steel move and no Steely Spirit. And the reason for that is because we just don't need it. Look at my opponent's team. The biggest thing that Steel moves hit is going to be the Ribombee. And we 2KO Ribombee anyways with something like Play Rough because, one, we're adamant natured off of 110 base attacks. We have a ridiculously high attack stat. But at the same time, we also, we have Tough Claws, 1.3 times boost, that's a Life Orb. So on top of the Assault Vest, we basically have a Life Orb without the Life Orb recoil, and all 4 of our moves here are affected by Life Orb, or not Life Orb when I'm saying Tough Claws. There we go. That's basically it. That's the most important thing there. This thing is kind of pressured though. It is there to be a check to not only the Indeedee, but also the Ribombee and the Moltres. The Galarian Moltres does not get a fire move. It does not get Scorching Stance either, I believe. So because of that, we should in theory be able to beat it 1v1 with Play Rough. That's the big thing. We 2KO that no matter what. So that's really it. We should be able to 2KO everything on his team with this set, and ideally we can go to work. The biggest problem to this set is going to be the Tentacruel. If we can avoid getting Scald Burnt, then we're fine, but the Tentacruel is going to be very annoying because it can get knock off our item, and we don't really want to deal with that. So that is our Perrserker. I don't really think there's anything too much to say about this other than that. We're only going to be bringing it in really against the Indeedee, and if it goes for a Life Orb Mystical Fire, then that sucks, but at the end of the day, we'll be able to kind of play around that. We'll know if it's Specs, we'll know if it's Scarf, we'll know if it's Life Orb, and that's the big thing. We can get that information and react appropriately. And if we do manage to get the KO on the Indeedee, then he's going to probably bring in the Hitmonlee, excuse me. The Hitmonlee, what it would be able to do is it would be able to then revenge kill my Perrserker, but if we manage to get rid of the Indeedee, oh boy, we're in a good position. And the reason I say that is because if he is the reckless, not the reckless set, when he's saying the unburdened set with the Psychic Seed and his best attacking move is the Poison Jab, then we have our next mon to be able to handle that and check that effectively, and that is going to be our Gardevoir. Now Gardevoir with Expanding Force, Moonblast, and Mystical Fire with Healing Wish, and the Kebia Berry is going to be our set this week with Trace. Now what Trace does for us is it's so important. One, if we come in on the Indeedee and Terrain is gone, we can actually pop Terrain back up and we have fully powered Expanding Forces, which are going to do so much damage. But at the same time, if Terrain is up and it's going to be, or even if it's not up, and we get in on the Hitmonlee, Hitmonlee has its only way of hitting us for super effective damage to be the Poison Jab. That's it, other than like Bullet Punch, but it's not going to go for Bullet Punch because it has Psychic Terrain up potentially, so we don't have to really worry about that too much. With the Kebia Berry, one, we will activate our Unburden because we will trace his Unburden, which is amazing, and we can then fire off ideally either a max powered Expanding Force or a Moonblast on the Hitmonlee, and with 125 base special attack, we should be able to get the KO on that pretty much 100% of the time, and that is absolutely phenomenal for us. If we can get the +2 boost from the Unburden and we're in Terrain, then it's pretty much game over because he doesn't really have an answer to the dual stab here. Like, you look at his team, the only answer he has to the dual stab is the Mystical Fire, and ideally we weaken the Magnezone. And looking at my team, Magnezone doesn't have a great time against me. We have a really good ground type in Swampert, which it cannot touch. We have a Druddigon, which will be not outspeeding it, but can take a hit or two and then fire off really good damage against everything, so he doesn't really want to get that fast pivot out. And at the same time, Moltres, super effective damage. Gardevoir, Mystical Fire. Roselia resists Volt Switch. That's basically, and Zoroark has super effective coverage for it as well. We take care of the Magnezone pretty well, but Mystical Fire is there as a way to kind of get the KO on it. If it's at like 60-ish%, we should be able to get that done. But yeah, that is going to be our Gardevoir. The speed on it does actually has speed for the Decidueye and Adamant Hitmonlee. So if we know it is Adamant Hitmonlee, then that's super amazing because we can get the +2 and outspeed that thing by the off chance it's like somehow lives the Moonblast or the Psychic or the Expanding Force or whatever. That's the big thing. We also have enough investment on this set to take a +1 Adamant Hitmonlee's Poison Jab after Rocks with our Kebia Berry. That's in case he's running the Curse Whiteherb set, which is very scary. We also do take a +1 knockoff because we won't be having our berry from that, so we do take that as well. And that's without Rocks. No Rocks for that one. We cannot afford to take it. We're going to be losing out on too many investments into our special attack. That's the big one. And yeah, and Healing Wish is also very useful in case that we manage to let's say Hitmonlee it's weakened to the point where we can take it down with something else and we don't have to worry about its terraining and its unburdening, wow. We can then Healing Wish back up something like our Perrserker, which would be very, very helpful for us. Our next mon is going to be the MVP of last week. Zoroark is back with the Focus Sash again. Knock off Flamethrower, Extra Sensory, and U-Turn. This is my lead once more. The reason I'm leading with the Zoroark again is because it hits his team for incredible damage all around. The big things that would want to be taking the hits from this is going to be something like maybe the Tentacruel from a special side because it's got a lot of special defense. Maybe the Magnezone, but again, Magnezone, I do get access to Low Kick, I do get access to Flamethrower as well, so it should be fine. But nothing else really wants to take the hit. And if I disguise this effectively, if I disguise it as the Perrserker, then Ribombee not going to want to take the hits. It's not going to, like, period, point blank. So that's really it. I don't feel too upset about having webs against me. So if I disguise this as Perrserker and he leads with Ribombee and he gets up his webs, fine, so be it, is what it is, but we can just really weaken his team tremendously, and that's kind of what I want to do with the Zoroark as my lead. It really has an effective matchup here, and if he brings the Marshtomp, which is his only ground type, I can knock off its Eviolite, which is amazing. Getting rid of that means that my Heliolisk eventually can go in because I don't have to worry about that extra bit of bulk that the Marshtomp would have. Our investment on this set is pretty important. We do have speed for everything but the Ribombee and Choice Scarfers. Really important there. We can guarantee know what is going to be Choice Scarfed and what is not going to be Choice Scarfed. I was debating running Sludge Bomb, but I don't need it. Flamethrower hits the Ribombee for just as good damage, and that's really the only reason. So we kind of decided to say, you know what, Flamethrower it is, knock off for getting rid of items, that's the thing. And the biggest, most important thing is we OHKO a non-Culver Berry Indeedee. So if it's not Scarfed, we'll outspeed it, and if it's not Culver Berry, we'll KO it. Easy enough. And we also wear down Tentacruel and Magnezone, which my team does have a bit of trouble dealing with because of their powerful special offense and their speed for certain things. That's the big thing. Moving on, our next mon is going to be Jill the Swampert here with the Rindo Berry this week that is there specifically for the Decidueye. The Decidueye is kind of annoying for my team to deal with, so ideally we can just weaken it to the point that it either is a non-factor or it just is gone. That's the big thing. We want to get rid of the Decidueye because it is very annoying for my team to deal with this dual stab. Poltergeist plus like Leaf Blade is super powerful, and I would not be surprised to see a Choice Band set potentially coming, so we gotta be careful. But if we can disguise our Zoroark as the Swampert, maybe he goes for a grass move, maybe he goes for a Poltergeist or a U-turn expecting a switch, but we have access to our Zoroark's Focus Sash to fire off a powerful knockoff and get the KO on it. That would be absolutely amazing for us. We do have Flip Turn and Earthquake on this set as our dual stab. Darkest Lariat is there because I do need to have a way to, one, hit the Indeedee, but two, this also lets me hit the Shedinja for super effective damage. You're going to see a trend. Everything on my team can hit Shedinja for super effective damage, and we need to have that guaranteed. If we do not have that, and Shedinja is the last mon, we just auto lose. I don't want that to happen. So at this point, everything on my team will be able to hit it for super effective damage, guaranteed, which is amazing. Lariat, like I said, there for that, but also for the Indeedee to OHKO that thing. And we also have Stealth Rocks because if I can manage to get up rocks late game, or even mid game, it's going to be able to weaken his team tremendously, and it will allow my Gardevoir, my Perrserker, my Zoroark to just go in and put in a lot of pressure on his team. The investment on this set, I love working with Swampert because its stats are so well rounded. It can be so offensive and so defensive that I can really play around with its stats a lot, and I love that. The investment on this allows me to take a Specs Timid Expanding Force or Energy Ball because of the Rindo Berry from the Indeedee. We do also take an Adamant non-boosted Decidueye's Leaf Blade after rocks, and we do also take a non-modest, non-boosted Decidueye's Leaf Storm as well. So if it's Timid Leaf Storm, we'll take the hit. If it's Adamant Leaf Blade, we'll take the hit as well. Other than that, we take a +1 Hitmonlee's Close Combat after rocks or a +1 High Jump Kick without rocks. So again, same curse set, we'll be able to take the hit, fire off an attack, and be able to do tons of damage back to it, which would be amazing. And we can really try and weaken it that way for something else that might be able to take the hit after. Maybe we're not expecting the Gardevoir to be able to get the KO on it or something. Because, I mean, Hitmonlee does have pretty good special defense. We can go for a Flip Turn, get some good damage off on it, go into Gardevoir, make sure we still have our Swampert around, and then fire off the Moonblast to be able to do enough damage to get the KO on it that way. That's the big thing. And with our Rindo Berry, we also take a +2 modest Ribombi's Energy Ball. +2, that is. That's good to have. Not the best set in the world, but Flip Turn should do a good amount of damage to it. Ribombee is pretty frail, so we'll see what happens there. That's pretty much it though. We really had the rest in our attack because we didn't need anything else. Like, we just want to make sure we broke subs, we want to make sure that we weaken things effectively, and if I can get this thing in on something like the Tentacruel, yes, there's a chance for Scald Burns, but there's also the chance for him to go to Giga Drain, and we have to be wary of those things. But if he does not go for Giga Drain, he does not go for Scald, or maybe he thinks we're Choice Scarfed, then Earthquake's going to do a ton of work against his team. It's going to really put in a lot of pressure, especially if he doesn't bring the Galarian Moltres. Moving on, our next mon is going to be the Heliolisk here. Heliolisk has a phenomenal match to this game because he has no legitimate ground type, I'll be honest. I'm saying legitimate. He does have a Marshtomp there. I mean, it's a Marshtomp. It's a pre-evolution. It could be annoying, but I'm actually not bringing U-turn because I'm pretty confident that I can beat it down because I have Grass Knot. Grass Knot will let me do a ton of damage to the Marshtomp. I believe it's base 80 power. I have to double check that. But it still hits very, very strong against the Marshtomp, which is nice. 4 times effective. We can definitely take advantage of that. And after that, we have Voltage and Discharge to just go switching around on everything, and then Discharge to paralyze everything. Ideally, if we paralyze things, that's fantastic for us. We have the Dry Skin because it allows me to take hits from the Tentacruel. The Assault Vest lets me take hits from the Magnezone 2 outside of like Body Press or something. Tentacruel as well. Special Decidueye on top of that. We can take a hit or two from Ribombee, potentially get a paralysis with Discharge if it's not running the Sweet Veil ability, I believe it is. That will prevent like secondary effects of moves. Honestly, we don't want to have Heliolisk in on Ribombee unless we know like it's in range of something and we kind of have to take a hit. It doesn't have Roost, for example. That's really it. So yeah, and then Dark Pulse is there because we need to have a way to one hit Indeedee but also hit Shedinja. There we go. This set does have speed for everything except for Choice Scarf Pokemon and the Ribombee. Everything else we have speed for, and that is absolutely perfect for us. And the AV, like I said, is to take multiple hits ideally and fire back something really strong against something and weaken it. That is the big thing that we want to do with this set. And then finally we have our Moltres here. Moltres is back with the heavy duty boots once more. He doesn't have a ton of rockers. His rockers on his team consist of just the Marshtomp, I believe it is, and the Hakamo, if I'm not mistaken. But I can't risk it. I have to be safe. I don't want to take 50% on entry, and if there was any week not to run the boots, it would be this one here, but we're going to go with it this week, and that's important. We are running a really cool set, though, with Burn Up this week. Now, Burn Up, if you guys don't know what that does, it's a one-time use fire move. It has to be used by a fire-type Pokemon. When you click Burn Up, you lose your fire typing. but the trade-off is you get an incredibly powerful 130 base power attack, and then you lose the downsides of being a fire typing, but you also lose the good parts of being a fire type. Now, the good parts of being a fire type aren't too many in this game because he does have the Indeedee, which hits me for the Expanding Force, which is going to do more than a Dazzling Gleam would, obviously. So we don't really need to have the fire typing there. He does have the Hitmonlee though, which has potential to run Rock Slide, and that's important to know because with our investment in defense, if we lose our fire typing, we'll actually take a +1 Adamant Hitmonlee Rock Slide. Who knew, right? We can take that hit if it is ×2 effective, not ×4 effective. That's important. It also helps us beat a Tentacruel 1v1 unless it has Toxic. We should be able to beat a 1v1 because we have Mystical Fire. We also have Scorching Sands for it too. Mystical Fire will let me beat it. Again, if it's physical, then hopefully we have to burn with Scorching Sands. If it's special, we have Mystical Fire to weaken that thing. And if it doesn't have Toxic, then yeah. Once we get the burn up off, we should be good to beat it 1v1. We do have a good bit of speed on this as well. It's there for Decidueye and Adamant Hitmonlee on top of that, and that's really it. The biggest concern I have with this set is that Mystical Fire will not affect the Ribombee if it's running the Sweet Veil ability, which it should be, and I think Mario will be prepared. He will be prepared, and he will have that ability. So we either have to go for a burn up, or we just have to weaken it to the point where eventually we can get the KO with something else. Maybe we have our Sash still intact on the Zoroark, maybe Perrserker hasn't been weakened yet. That's really it. That's the biggest thing for this on our Moltres. We just gotta be safe with it, and it has such an amazing matchup for us this game offensively because you guys see we're modest, so we should be able to put in a lot of work with it. Ideally we can do that, and look, I'm thinking that we can put in a lot of work. We do take a modest Scarf Indeedee's Expanding Force, that's big, and we also don't get OHKO'd by the Magnezone after a Mystical Fire if it is not analytic and if it is not a boosting item. So if it's, let's say, leftovers or something and it's Magnet Pull to try and trap the Perrserker, then we can get up a Mystical Fire and make sure that we then survive the hit. But ideally, we're not clicking Mystical Fire, we're gonna click Scorching Sands. So it's kind of a moot point, but it's just something I found was pretty important, so I want to showcase it. But yeah, guys, that's gonna be the end of the team builder portion of the battle. Wow, that's long, I'm sorry for that. I'm trying to go in depth for you guys, and we're going long all the time. But if you guys enjoy the team builders, do me a favor, leave a like on the video. Let me know what your favorite parts of the team builders are, and of course, make sure to comment the secret word of the day, which is going to be chicken wing. We had a lot of people comment chicken wings as their favorite food, so hey, chicken wings, let me know what's your favorite kind. Let me know if you like it spicy or not. Let me know down in the comments below. But guys, let's go ahead and jump into it. It is time for the APA Academy Week 2 battle against MarioBee and his Roll Street Rillabooms. Let's do it. All right, everyone, welcome back. So looking at the team he brings, Moltres, Hitmonlee, Indeedee, Male, Ribombee, Tentacruel, and Decidueye. Okay, so we are still leading off with Shien here. We hit everything for actually super effective damage here, I believe, except for the Moltres, which we can get rid of boots for, which is going to be fantastic. What do I want to lead off with? What do I want to pretend that we have here? I think I might want to pretend that we're going to be going with the... I want to pretend that we're going to have our... no, I want to make this 5th. I don't think I'm going to pretend being Reggie. I don't think I'm going to pretend being you. I think I'm going to pretend being you at some point maybe, so we'll see. Jill for sure, and then Tone Time. Because if he leads off with anything, he has to be worried about it. He has to be worried about this thing causing problems, so he's going to want to attack it, I think. And if he leads off with the Ribombee, he may not just go for webs. So we'll go ahead and lead off with Shien here. Hide the fact that we are the Focus Sashed Shien, the Zoroark, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. This is going to be a good game, I'm thinking. 20 seconds left on the timer. It gives me enough time to add his team to Showdown. We have Moltres, Galar. We have Hitmonlee, Indeedee, Male, Decidueye. Alright, I really hope the audio is good. I'm pretty sure I messed up my team builder for tomorrow's video. The audio was too loud to re-record it. Other than that, what did he bring? He brought Ribombee and he brought Tentacruel. So these are going to be his main options. He doesn't actually have a immunity to electric type attacks. Hoodlum, that is definitely the Decidueye. So I'm actually okay with this because I can fire off a knockoff here pretty freely. So if we take a look at Decidueye, if it's offensive, it actually won't drop, I'm pretty sure. If it's got max attack, no investment in HP, knockoff is actually a roll if he has no investment. Flamethrower is not a roll, it does not KO, but we can just go for the knockoff pretty freely. So yeah, we'll see what happens here. We'll know if he's Choice Scarfed as well, and no matter what, we get a knockoff on something, so it's very nice. But yeah, I imagine he just wants to get damage off on me. That's very important to do, to get damage off on my Perrserker, so we'll see if that's what he does, but we can knock off pretty freely here while we're pretending to be the Perrserker. And we do have the choice scar, the focus sash, excuse me, so we live any one hit, which is amazing for us. All right, let's see. He stays in, knockoff, he has Culverberry, okay. That's fine, that's not the end of the world. So he knows we're the Zoroark now, which is okay, as he's gonna go for a, let's see, U-turn. I'm okay with that, I'm actually fine with that. Brings us down almost to our sash. He does not know if we are sashed yet, but he knows that we are the Zoroark. Now, here's the thing, only the Ribombee outspeeds us. That's it. And we have our Perrserker. So I feel pretty decent, honestly. And at worst case scenario, guys, like this set still goes in. If the Moltres goes down, this set really does a lot of work on his team still. So we can then just take advantage of it with something like our Healing Wish Gardevoir, get back healthy, and then our Zoroark can go back to being what it needs to be, which is great. But we'll see what he goes into here. If it's not this is Ribombee. You go into Ribombee here. Like, that's what you do. Everything else gets outsped unless it's Choice Scarfed. So we'll see what he wants to do. But yeah, I don't know what it's making. Ribombee, there we go. Pretty straightforward. I do have my Perrserker here. I do want to go hard into the Perrserker. He probably has U-turn, to be honest. Like, I'm gonna go into Moltres instead. And the reason I'm gonna go Moltres instead is because like he still can't really beat me. Like, there's really not much that he can do to beat me. We have a Perrserker still. He can't beat that. Like, he doesn't get coverage moves to hit Steel types. As he U-turns, there we go. So now's the chance for Flame Body too. And we're gonna see, do we get it? We don't get it. As I'm just gonna double check that we are Flame Body. We are Flame Body, okay. Always gotta make sure. But this is fine. He can't go into the Hitmonlee yet. He just can't. Because if he goes to Hitmonlee, then we could outspeed. We outspeed Adam and Hitmonlee. So that's important to note too. So the question is, what are you going to go into here? Do you go Tentacruel? On Tentacruel, we probably just burn up. Yeah. Because I don't want to take a Giga Drain or something. I don't want to take really a Scald with anything else. Actually, I'd probably go into Heliolisk, to be honest, against the Tentacruel. Squidward, that is the Tentacruel. I'm actually okay with just attacking, to be honest. We're going to go for the burn up here. We're going to try and see what he wants to do. Maybe we outspeed. We'll see if he's a speedy Tentacruel or not. But if we go to Moltres in the Calc against Tentacruel. Toxic Spikes. Unfortunate. We don't have Defog this week. We don't have a Poison type this week either. So burn up comes out. That's fine. He outsped us. We get some good damage off on it. So no more Fire typing. And then we can go for the... That's like pretty weak too, I found. So we can go for the Scorching Stance here. But it's not the end of the world. Sludge Bomb's gonna come out. It's not bad in terms of damage. And we can fire off Scorching Sands. Yeah, that's a lot of chip there. 30% chance to burn. We do not get it. That's okay. We go for another Scorching Sands here. As he goes in for another Sludge Bomb. Oh, that's it. Oh, come on. Oh, that crit sucks. That crit really hurts. That crit really... That hurts so bad. We cannot have afforded to get crit there. We're going to go into Reggie here. We'll outspeed it. That's so bad. We still have our Moltres in the back that we can still roost up on a few things, like the Decidueye, for example. But he's going to Scald here. Dry Skin, baby. We'll take it. Yeah, free switching. I know, baby. We can Volt Switch. Completely free. Like, completely free Volt Switch. There's nothing that stops us from doing that. At all. So, let's go for the Volt Switch. Does he want to keep this around? That is the question. We still have our Fire typing on the Moltres now. We have that back once we switch out. That crit is unfortunate. It sucks. Losing that HP on Moltres is super valuable. And he didn't bring a Rocker, so I'm kind of upset that I did not go for a different item. But we get the KO here. Heliolisk gets his first KO of the game, so no more Tentacruel, which is nice. And do we just go into... We don't went to RuPaul. I don't think we can go into Tone Time yet. Do we go back into Moltres here? Because Shien does a lot of work still. If I go Shien, he's just going to go hard into Ribombee and go for a U-turn. But then I get the advantage. I think... We're going to go into Moltres here. We're going to go into Moltres because I want to be able to see what he's going to do. We should be able to take a Mystical Fire from this range unless he's like Life Orb or something. Let's take a look against the... What is it called? It is Indeedee. If it's Specs, I don't think we're going to take the Mystical Fire. But Mystical Fire does 37 points at most if it's choice specs. I believe we were at 35, if I'm mistaken. That's where the crit comes into play, because we would have been out of range of specs Mystical Fire. He'd have to go for Hyper Voice or something, or Expanding Force, which means we could freely go into the I'm trying to think of the name of it. The Perrserker. I'm so bad with names. That is one thing. If you guys are new to the channel, that is one thing I'm terrible with. I'm terrible with names. I mix them up all the time, but eventually I get the message across. Dexter comes in. That is the Indeedee. That is fine with me. We're going to go for a Mystical Fire here in case he decides to go for a Calm Mind or something. We can weaken it. And that is the thing. We just want to weaken it. Make sure it cannot go for yeah, I don't want him to go for Calm Mind, as I just did the exact opposite of what I wanted to do. Hyper Voice comes out. Okay, stupid decision on my part, but it's okay. I can go hard into Perrserker here, and we get a KO basically, as it's Life Orb 2. Ooh, okay, Life Orb. So we go into Perrserker here, right? What does he have? What does he have? Let's make sure what he has. We go to Perrserker. He has no answer to this Pokemon. Like, I can click Play Rough pretty freely, right? Pretty sure I can, but we're not going to. We're not going to. I can also go to Shien here. Shien does a lot still, and it weakens. Shien still weakens things. It gets rid of Boots on the Moltres. No, we're gonna go into Tone Time here. We're gonna go Tone Time, and I believe he wants to keep this around, so we're gonna go for a U-turn. U-turn should get the KO here. Unless he's like fully physically defensive, which I don't think he's going to be. I think if anything, he goes into Ribombee, Decidueye, something like that. But we have to beat everything with our Heliolisk anyways. He has no immunities. He has one resist in the what's that thing called? Decidueye. But again, we eat that for days. So feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good. The Toxic Spike up is a bit of a pain. I'm not gonna lie. That is problematic for us. Did not expect him to bring Toxic Spikes because we did have a decent matchup to Psychic types, to Poison types, I mean, with our Roselia, and to Psychic types outside of the Indeedee, and to attacks outside the Indeedee. Like, the Roselia walls the Ribombee unless it's running Psychic, which even then, Sludge Bomb does a ton of damage too, so there's that. I'm surprised, but regardless, U-turn is super free here. If you go for anything, like, if you go for an attack here, you're going to lose your Indeedee. We take the hit, as he just switches out, so we're going to gain momentum, we take those, as he goes into Hoodlum the Decidueye. Okay. That is fine. So we're going to weaken this a bit more. Oh, that is good damage. That is good damage. We no longer have an immunity, which sucks. But, I mean, at this range, we should KO with Zoroark's U-turn, right? Let's take a look at Zoroark against, what is it? It's Decidueye. U-turn does a quarter, so we're going to be able to go into to Zoroark pretty freely. That's a good play on our part. No reason not to. Yeah. So we show that we're Swampert, in air quotes. And we can go for a free U-turn here. We'll get momentum. Yeah, and if we go into Perrserker against his Hitmonlee, he just switches out. So we're going to get the U-turn momentum off. Beautiful. Husey, what is that? Is that the Moltres? It is the Moltres. The shiny Moltres that looks like regular Moltres is so dope. But we're going to get the U-turn off. Some good solid damage against that. And I can go into Heliolisk here again. Yeah, let's go into Heliolisk once more. Once more. Okay. How much do we do to Moltres with Heliolisk? Let's take a look. Heliolisk against Moltres. Galarian Moltres, that is. Moltres G. He's got no investment. Discharge is 61 to 72. That is nothing, but it's still probably my best bet here. We do weaken everything, and that is good. How many turns left on terrain? We want to make sure we have that in mind. There's 2 turns left on terrain. So we're going to go for... He maybe goes into the Decidueye, but that's fine. I'm going to go for the discharge anyways. But I want to weaken this. So we're going to get the discharge off. We can potentially paralyze it. It's 30%. We do a shit ton of damage there. And we do get the paralysis. That's nice. And we are Assault Vest as he gets the Berserk off. So if he goes for a dark move, that's the best bet that he has for us. As he goes for Fiery Wrath, he does connect as well. It's neutral now, but we do have the Assault Vest there to take any hits, which is dope. And at this point in time, we can freely just go for the Volt Switch. Volt Switch will KO. Volt Switch will KO here. And there's going to be no more terrain on top of that. That's amazing. This is getting weakened. He's got Ribombee, which has a good bit of health left. I think it's max HP actually. Which sucks. We gotta be careful. Ribombee's gonna be a problem for us. Is he gonna let this go? He's gonna let it go. So we get the KO on the... Yeah, we got the KO on the Moltres. Nice. There's no more terrain. Okay. And now I go hard into Tone Time, right? If I go into Tone Time and he goes into Hitmonlee, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine, because I then go into Zoroark sacking that off, correct? No, I go into Reggie sacking it off. That's what I do, because I don't need Reggie anymore at this point. 2 kills with Reggie against a team with no immunity to electric attacks. That's gonna happen. That's gonna happen. Honestly, if he goes into like anything, Hoodlum. Does this get knockoff? I have to know right now. It gets knockoff. We're gonna switch out. We're gonna go to Reggie. Hard into Reggie. Reggie, you do good, but we don't need you right now. We don't need you right now. We'll get the first switch in again against anything, which is amazing. If he goes into Ribombee, fine. We go into our we go into, what is it called? Perrserker again. And if he goes into anything else, we can go into Zoroark and outspeed Poltergeist. We're immune. Oh, that's big. That's big, dude. All right, let's take a look at this. Heliolisk against... What is there to be against? Is the Decidueye. Let's see, level 50. I want to see if Volt Switch KOs. 14 to 16. I don't want him to get momentum. He doesn't have an answer to this, though. So we can freely go for the Discharge here. So we're going to go for the Discharge, which will KO. Again, we don't need this thing around, but here we should get the KO on this. As we do. Great. So that's 3 kills for Heliolisk. Wow. That's awesome. That's all. 3 kills already. And we have 1 more hidden us, so we can get another sack off if we need to. But again, I'm imagining he just goes hard into Ribombee here. It's the only thing that outspeeds me now, unless he has Choice Scarf on the Hitmonlee, which I don't think he will be. I don't think he's going to reveal that right now. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but we're in a good spot right now. We're looking good. Ribombee. Yeah, I'm imagining a U-turn is going to come out. On the off chance it does not, I Volt Switch. And if he goes for a Calm Mind, then, or a Quiver Dance, excuse me, I just Volt Switch out, and I'm good to go. Kind of wishing I had a fighting, a Steel move now on my Perrserker, but it just wasn't. The best 4 moves this matchup did not include a Steel move. So we'll see. He doesn't know that I don't have a Steel move. So he should go for U-turn here. In theory, that's his play. And we'll see. But the fact that he has U-turn means he might be missing out on coverage and just goes for Moonblast instead, which I'm totally fine with. Totally fine with. We go into Perrserker now. Where is it? Perrserker. And we click Play Rough, because Play Rough will do the most amount of damage. So Perrserker against Ribombee. Okay. Play Rough does 60 to 71. if he's got no investment, we just go for the play rough here. Moonblast is 14 to 17. And if he has Scarf Trick, he's Scarf Trick, but he can't trick me right now. So that's a thing. Being a Steel type in this game is so valuable. Perrserker, honestly, just having it available to me, so important. Moonblast again, he is totally Choice Scarfed. I'm confident about that. Or he specs based on that damage. That did around 42 points of health. 42 points of health. Does that make sense? Yeah, he specs. He is specs for sure. 42 points if he's so he's choice specs, we know that. Let me calculate this out. Choice specs against Perrserker. 44 points at most. Now if I go to Indeedee, choice specs, no, it's Life Orb, we know that. I have to mark that down with a Life Orb. With Mystical Fire, it does the most 88 points of health. If he gets 44, 133, 35 plus 9 will be, and we should be at 91. So we'll be out of range unless he's modest. So we go for the play rough here. Let's go for another Moonblast. 93. It's good. Special attack drop, it matters so much. Play rough, and we do connect. Good. So that's a kill for Perrserker. We are out of range of Timid, Life Orb, Mystical Fire. If it is modest, it does 96 points at most. There's 3 rolls to KO. 2 94s and 196. Two 94s, 196. With Swampert's Rindo Berry in the back, I'm feeling decent about it. With Zoroark in the back, I'm feeling decent about it unless he has Protect. We know he's Life Orb, and we know he's Psychic Surge. I'm pretty confident he has Expanding Force, and I'm pretty confident he has Hyper Voice. I am confident we know he has Hyper Voice, and I'm pretty confident he has Mystical Fire. After that, I don't know what it could be, but Dexter comes in. He's going for a roll, and this is male. Yeah, this is male. So, like I said, it's a roll. And I just go for Throw Chop here. Right? I go for Throw Chop here, yes, 100%, 100%. Mystical Fire comes out. If he's modest, it's a roll. If he's not modest, it looks like. So we live the hit, and we can Throw Chop and get the KO on this. So that's 2 kills for Perrserker as well. And, oh boy. So, he can easily go into Hitmontop here. Hitmonlee. That's his only option left, Hitmonlee. But if I go Perrserker against Hitmonlee, I can't let it get to +2. If it gets to +2, it'll beat me. So, I'm going to go for a U-turn here. And it reveals it's Unburden, okay. So it has the Psychic Seed, which is special defense boost. I'm going to go for a U-turn. Play rough would Oko, but in case he goes for something. If he goes, this thing gets Swords Dance, doesn't it? Is it if he has the +1, am I... Play rough has a chance to Oko. I think I'm good with it. I think I'm going with play rough. Let's go for play rough. In case he sets up on me. He just goes for knockoff, that's fine. So we go into Gardevoir. And we have Psychic Terrain. We should KO here. He's at +1, we should still KO. So we go into Gardevoir. Hitmonlee's Poison Jab, it does 45 to 53. If he crits us, it is 80% at most. And Expanding Force Okos, 126 to 150. We trace his Unburden, and some miracle we don't KO if he's adamant, we'll be able to get the KO on him. But Psychic Terrain, this looks like it's going to be a 3-0 win for us. So Poison Jab comes out, Kebiberry pops, boom, and come on baby, tell me it's the 3-0. We take the hit, and there we go. That's what we do. Great game to Mario and his Roll Street Rillabooms, we had a game plan and we executed it, and we executed it flawlessly, and it worked out really well. I would have been able to go into my Swampert a lot earlier, but I really didn't want to take the chip damage. Same thing with Gardevoir, by the way. Like, as soon as the Tentacool went down, like, he had no answer to Fairy types at all, and I would have loved to get a lot of damage in on him. Problem is, I just couldn't do that because I did not want to take the toxic damage that was going to rack up on me, and if I did it, then that end game right there was not possible if we take that chip. So we saved it, we waited to the very end, we used our sacks as necessary. Him going for the Poltergeist on the turn that I went into Heliolisk as a sack, unfortunate. I think a U-turn might have been a better play there. I'm trying to think what was in. It was, I think it was the Perrserker, which the reason I was switching out into the Zoroark was, or not the Zoroark, but the Helios was because I'm sacking it off to a U-turn, I imagine. And he ended up going for something else, which caught me off guard. But GG nonetheless. Mario is a really good guy. Make sure to check him out. His channel link is in the description. If you guys have any questions about the games that you guys might have, by the way, if you have any questions about why I did a certain thing, if I don't explain it in the video, then leave a comment and I'll be able to go down there and answer as well. Or if you have suggestions for why I can bring to a potential rematch, let me know too. Guys, I'm still learning. You guys are still learning. We're all still learning. We might as well just do this together, be on this road together. And if you guys are interested in checking out more of the channel, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more. Make sure to like the video as always. Comment your thoughts on the battle, like I said. Check me out on Twitter, guys. We're trying to reach 500 Twitter followers by the end of the year. We're getting close to 300 at the time of recording this video. We might be there by the time we have this video live, but we'll see. And of course, guys, check out the Ocean Discord server. We're trying to get to 400 members on there as well. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys all next time.